What is environmental sociology? You might have heard or seen slogans critical of environmentalists such as Greens cost jobs and reactions like no environment, no economy. Well, no environment, no sociology, no jobs, no universities, no due dates for essays. Have I got your attention? You get the idea. The point is the significance of human relations with the environment. So why do we need a sociology of the environment? Gender, race, ethnicity, health, class. The environment is the field on which all of these games are played. To understand society, we need to have some understanding of the material world and humanity's relationships with it. This is not to say that as sociologists, we must understand the details of the physical sciences, but some basic grasp of how those sciences work and are understood by people is important. When we engage in sociology, we often investigate the practices of humans with other humans within human social systems, such as the health system or the legal system, or human social structures, such as nation-states, corporations, and governments. So although sociology can sometimes focus upon human relations with other humans, to ignore our relations with the rest of the world would be an oversight. Sociology can also challenge dubious ideas that have emerged from the natural sciences. Historically, biological determinism has led to inequitable treatment based on gender, race, sexuality, age, and a range of factors. Sociology has also helped us challenge pseudo-natural sciences, such as phrenology, that skull shape determines human behaviour. And sociology has questioned the abuse of science, such as eugenics to select for certain types of better people. In the nature versus nurture debate, sociology draws our attention to the far greater role played by socialisation in the making of a human. Consequently, there's been a tendency of sociology to move away from the role of biology or environment in explaining human relations. Sociology's reluctance to engage with the environment is also a product of establishing a new discipline. To create social science, you need to distinguish it from the natural sciences. Yet discussion of the environment has long been a part of sociological thinking. When Marx discussed the production of commodities, he was talking about a relationship between workers and the natural resources that they converted into goods for exchange. Marx also recognised the metabolic rift under capitalist modes of farming, in which soils were overexploited to increase short-term productivity by humans who worked upon but were alienated from connection to the land. He noted the importance of returning nutrients to the soil and could be considered an early advocate of organic farming. Anthropologists have long recognised symbolic values or associations held by people to species or objects, such as kindred animals, sacred mountains, or entities that dwell in natural forces, such as storms, floods, and droughts. And increasingly people are paying attention to the ways in which we relate to the environment. Are we getting enough time with nature? How can our relationships with non-human nature improve the human condition? We can use sociology to help understand the interactions of individuals and of societal structures with the non-human world. A sociology of the environment does not ask us to return to purely biological or geographic explanations, but asks us to consider the interaction of all factors. It also asks us to question how the physical environment itself is constructed by humans. It asks us to question the very definition of the environment. So a key question is, what do we mean when we say the environment? The term environment is now mostly associated with ideas about climate change, global warming, the degradation of nature, the loss of resources, and many forms of pollution. But is the environment just other species of animals and plants? Is it also landscapes and ecosystems? What about the built environment, the cities, roads, and networks that are constructed by people? We often talk about spending time in nature, but is there such a place? Is it different to where you are right now? Are you somewhere unnatural? When people talk about going back to nature, are they referring to going to a place without humans? The separation between nature and culture is itself a cultural artefact that emerged with the industrial era. Overall, the environment in sociological work should not assume any specialised meanings. We could see the environment as the way in which we relate to our surroundings. Another key question for a sociology of the environment is, how are environmental problems known and acted upon? Scientists are ordered by society to conduct their business and can be considered an interest group. They're often funded, sometimes by government and sometimes by industry. Scientists are bound by ethical considerations and may avoid alerting us to catastrophe for fear of risking their professional standing. If a scientific body has its funding cut, what does that mean for the research and findings? Does that funding mean that more or better science will be produced? Who do we trust and why? How does that affect the decisions that we make? If you ever discuss science over the dinner table or barbecue, you are practicing science. We're all citizen scientists, and we inform and monitor the activities of others. So what we might believe to be truth about environmental issues is itself socially produced. Another important question is, what are the roles of institutions and economic networks in shaping the relationships with the non-human environment? When someone pays after filling up a car with petrol, winds up their window and turns on the aircon, they engage with a whole regime of oil companies, shipping companies, security services, militias, road construction bodies, rubber plantations, chemists, metallurgists, manufacturers, marketing managers and events promoters. They drive upon a system across sprawling suburbs and regions, passing gleaming shopping centres, toll collectors and police, government officials, experts and inspectors. When someone says in this society, you can't survive without a car, we rarely question the extremity of that statement. If we identify that oil production is an environmental problem, what does it mean to ask, how might society survive without oil? A sociology of the environment helps us explore what happens when resources dwindle or become unavailable to societies that are highly dependent upon them. What forms of inertia are built into our social structures that make it difficult for individuals or groups to change? A sociology of the environment also asks us to consider, why do some issues get more attention than others? Why might it be that a backboned animal with fur on its body and eyes on the front of its face, a charismatic megavertebrate, attracts our sympathy, while another, less appealing species that might be closer to the brink of extinction gets ignored? Why does the protection of our beaches or the Great Barrier Reef attract such attention in Australia? A sociology of the environment asks, what's the role for social movements in promoting positive environmental change? Who will do the work in transitioning to new practices? What dilemmas face our educational institutions, the union movement, professional associations, corporations and investors in effecting change? How are rural communities affected when some of their own members produce the very things that result in environmental damage for their hometown? Is there a place for sociological inquiry in investigating environmental issues? Yes. But a caution about the consequences of being woke to a sociology of the environment. As Bourdieu claimed, sociology is a martial art. It shines light upon inequalities and draws our attention to ways to improve society. Yet awareness can also lead to a sense of miserabilism. If you thought that being woke to inequality between humans can lead to miserabilism, then a sociology of the environment can add to that sense of despair. We should recognise that it is knowledge that brings angst, and that we should be cautious about how we engage with what is the very weight of the world. Welcome to Environmental Sociology.